Dr. Brad has gone mad. Chapter 6. The War to End All Wars. The next morning, I brought Stryker Smith to school with me. He is a superhero action figure from the future who travels through time and fights bad guys with a sword that is attached to his hand. Stryker Smith is cool. He can turn into a jet plane and fly too. One time on the school bus, I tied a string to Stryker Smith's leg and threw him out the window so he could fight bad guys who were attacking the bus. But Stryker fell under the bus and got decapitated. That's a fancy way of saying that his head came off. I was really sad. The good news is that I got a new Stryker Smith for Christmas. Michael brought in a Chewbacca action figure from Star Wars. Ryan brought in Megatron, who is a Transformer, who fights in the epic battle between the Autobots and the Decepticons. Neil the Nude Kid brought in Private Gunn, who is a helicopter assault trooper who can breathe underwater. He comes with an attack dog and a deluxe blowtorch. Action figures are cool. The girls, of course, brought in their Barbies. "This is Ballerina Barbie," Andrea said when we all met outside room 104. "Isn't she lovely?" "Oh, yes, yes," Emily said. "Do you like my circus star Barbie?" "I brought in Ponytail Barbie," said Annette. "I brought in Wedding Barbie," said Julie. Ugh, just listening to these girls talk about Barbies made me want to throw up. But soon, Dr. Brad arrived. He unlocked the door and let us in his office. "These are very nice toys you have," he told us. "Why did you ask us to bring them to school?" asked Andrea. "I want you to trade toys with each other," he said. "Huh?" "I want each boy to give your favorite toy to a girl," said Dr. Brad, "and each girl to give your favorite toy to a boy." "What?" I said. "I'm not giving a girl my Stryker Smith." "This will help each of you relate to each other's," Dr. Brad said. "Give it a try, AJ, just for a few minutes." "Here, Arlo," Andrea said. "You can play with my Barbie." Andrea held her Barbie out to me. I backed away like she was holding up a dead rat. I didn't want to touch that thing. "Ugh," I shouted. "Barbie germs." "Don't be silly," Dr. Brad said. "This will be fun." He took our action figures and gave them to the girls. He took the Barbies and gave one to each one of us guys. "I'm not playing with a doll," I announced. "You already do, Arlo," Andrea said. "Action figures are just dolls for boys." "They are not," I said. "R2. We went back and forth like that for a while until I finally had to say R2D2. Anytime somebody says R2, you should say R2D2. That's the first rule of being a kid. "You better not break our action figures," Ryan warned the girls. "Well, you better not break our Barbies," said Andrea. "Stop!" shouted Dr. Brad. He led me and the guys across the hall to the conference room. Dr. Brad told us to play with the Barbies, and he would come and check on us in a little while. Then he left and closed the door behind him. I looked at Michael. Michael looked at Neil. Neil looked at Ryan. Ryan looked at me. I looked at Barbie. "I don't want to play with Barbies," said Neil the Nude Kid. "Me either," said Michael. "Hey," I said, "I have an idea. Let's have a Barbie war." "AJ, you're a genius," said Michael. "No wonder they want to send you to dork school." Me and Michael put 2 Barbies on one end of the long table, and Ryan and Neil put the other 2 on the far end. It was time for war. The war to end all wars. The war of the Barbies. There was just one problem. Barbies don't come with weapons or anything cool that shoots. What fun are toys if they can't shoot anything? But that's when I came up with the genius idea of the century. There was a box of rubber bands in the windowsill. I gave a handful of them to Neil, Ryan, and Michael. The guys said I should get the Nobel Prize. That's the prize they give out to people who don't have bells. "Ready? Aim! Fire!" I yelled. It was all-out war. Me and Michael and Ryan and Neil were going crazy. The air was thick with flying rubber bands. "Die, Ballerina Barbie!" I shouted. "Eat lead, Circus Star Barbie!" shouted Ryan. "Ooh, my Barbie's been hit!" shouted Neil. "We might have to amputate her head to save her life!" shouted Michael. Rubber bands were flying fast and furious when the most amazing thing in the history of the world happened. The door opened. Well, I mean, that's not the amazing part, because doors open all the time. That's what they do. They're doors. But suddenly, Dr. Brad burst in. "What's going on in here?" he shouted. "I heard a lot of noise." "We're fighting the ultimate battle of good versus evil," I explained, "with Barbies." "Stop it!" yelled Dr. Brad. "No more fighting!" Dr. Brad was really mad. He made us pick up all the rubber bands. "We're sorry," Ryan said. "I hope the girls did not treat your action figures the same way you treated their dolls," Dr. Brad said, as he led us back across the hall to room 104. And you will never believe in 1,100,000 years what we saw in room 104. Chewbacca was wearing a dress. He was holding a purse and posed next to a little ironing board. Private Gunn had on a wig and a little hairdryer in his hand and a pink ice skates on his feet. Megatron had on a tutu and wore bracelets on his arms, and Stryker Smith was wearing high heels. What did you do to our action figures? I shouted at all the girls. We're playing dress up, said Annette. Doesn't Striker Smith look adorable in turquoise heels? Asked Emily. We accessorized him, said Andrea.